Hey, sports fans, NBA All-Star Weekend, and we still got a Super Bowl hangover. I think it's about wearing off after last week. And by the way, Tom Brady came out. He's here with us today. He let us know why he's retired. Look at that foot. You can't play with a foot like that. It's mangled. He's done. Sorry, TV. That's why he retired. Now we know. We will talk a little football off season. It's already started to percolate. Can you say Aaron Rodgers in the news again? Little Olympic talk. We'll spend 2 minutes on that. Mikala Schifrin. Oh my God, she's got one last chance apparently. Camille Valieva, I think that's how you say her name. The Russian that caused all the problems. The poor 15-year-old, the criminal Russians. They injected her with some stuff, and now she didn't pass her test. Who knows? And we got the U.S.-Canadian women rivalry. Another great game. Unfortunately, U.S. didn't fare that well. Huge NBA trade. We'll talk about that a little bit as well. But first, PB, we got to talk about the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
It was a little bit tad of a letdown after the playoffs. We had the divisional round and, of course, the conference championships. Those are great games, but still a pretty good game. Would you agree?
Yeah. It didn't have the same, tension that some of those other playoff games did, but it still came down to a field goal game. And it was.
Well, in the last drive, the Rams had to score a touchdown because they missed an extra point. And Stafford took them on that 7-minute drive, right?
Yeah. And I had predicted it was going to be kind of a low-scoring game, and it was. And I think a lot of people were expecting fireworks, and that's not what happened.
Unfortunately, you had the wrong prediction, though, as far as the winner. But if you took the point spread and bet it, you would have won, right? It was a 4-point game.
It was a 4-point game. I did like Cincy with the points. I also liked them straight up, and I had the right score for Cincinnati. I had 20 for Cincinnati, so I hit that right on the nose. I just had 17 for the Rams, and you know what? If they didn't score on that last drive, it would have been 20-16 would have been the final, and I would have pretty much nailed the exact score. I was hoping that the Rams couldn't score on that last drive, but that was a good drive.
I think G-Money also picked them by 3, though. Cincinnati to win by 3 as well, right?
Yes, he did. Yep.
Yeah.
And I think he had 24-21 or something like that. But I'll tell you, though, it was one of those Super Bowls where I was still happy for the other team for the Rams, even though I didn't pick the Rams. I was still happy for Stafford and happy for the Rams. And, I'm glad he got his ring. So it was kind of a win-win in that regard.
I will say this. I thought when OBJ went down, by the way, he was having only 2 catches, but at that point in time, you thought, no one could stop this guy. At the touchdown, that long pass as well. And I'm like, he's going to play. He's going to be the MVP if he keeps playing like this. And then he gets that freak injury. Again, another non-contact injury, the worst in sports. And I'm saying he's in trouble because for a while, they couldn't find anybody. Cooper was getting doubled a little bit. Stafford couldn't find anybody on the throw the ball to. And then the Bengals made, I think, the cardinal mistake. Don't ever get Aaron Donald mad. Why did you push him on the sideline? It wasn't a dirty play on Burrow by any means when he knocked him out of bounds. Why they got in his face and fired him up was stupid. Don't you agree?
Yeah. And that both final drives, that final drive, Cooper Kupp just came out. He was a player, and he did what he had to do on that final drive. He was amazing. And then on the final defensive drive, Aaron Donald stepped up. They're 2 best players, basically. Both stepped up on the final drive of the game. That's all it really took to win. They stayed close, and those 2 guys just stepped up and won them the game. One on offense, one on defense.
Yeah. I gotta say, the big news that came out after the game, people were talking about special Dan Olossi from ESPN. Matthew Stafford cemented his Hall of Fame bid. And I'm thinking, whoa, hold on, slow the roll down. Yeah, he's a good quarterback. He has a losing record all time. I know he played for Detroit, but you're part of this. You're the quarterback. You're part of the problem if you don't have a winning record, right? He's never been, listen to this. He's been a one-time Pro Bowler, never been an all-pro player, only been player of the week 3 times in his career. He's been playing for 13 years, and only 3 times in his life he's been in the top 5 touchdown passes in a season. I don't know. That's not Hall of Fame stuff, is it, PB?
No, I don't think so. I think they're really putting too much value on that ring. You can be a good quarterback in this league and for many years and never get a ring. And just because you win a ring and have average stats doesn't elevate you over a quarterback who has never won a ring.
Well, case in point, Jim Kelly was a great quarterback. Took his team to 4 Super Bowls. He didn't win any, but he got there 4 times in a row. That's an incredible feat. Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl. There you go. Do we put him in the Hall of Fame?
Exactly. And the list goes on. I'm sure there's other winning quarterbacks that Doug Williams would be another one that comes to mind,
Oh, and in 3 more years, we'll have the big Eli debate, right?
Yep.
I mean, he's a 500 career record, I believe, from a win-loss standpoint. It's 2 Super Bowls, but we'll see. All right. Hey, the 2022 odds came out right after that, as it normally does. I'm a little shocked by this. KC, #1 again. Buffalo, #2. I'm not surprised. Rams, 3. Of course, they still got most of the roster coming back. Cincinnati, 4. I think that's a big jump. I know they made the Super Bowl, but still. San Fran, 5 without Jimmy G and Trey Lance, who we haven't even seen play yet. Yeah. I'm a little bit, KC, first of all, Mahomes did not show me that he's totally turned it around in the second half of that loss against Cincinnati. So I'm still not sure that's the team at this point in time. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the best team in the NFL right now is the Buffalo Bills. I still think they're the best team. And, they went down to Kansas City. They played a hell of a game. Came out on the losing end of it in overtime because they never got the football. But I think that team would have rolled right to the Super Bowl and probably won the Super Bowl if they had kept going. And they're bringing most of their team back too next year. So
So having said that, I like them as well from the AFC. Who do you like from the NFC side right now?
If I go off of talent, you're gonna like this, Z. But I got to go with the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are the most talented team in the league, and with Micah Parsons, defensive, obviously rookie of the year, he's going to be a stud for time to come. If they can just build that defense a little bit more up around him, I think they're the team to beat. And offensively, Dak has never, he hasn't really played a full year where he's healthy. And if he can do that, and those young receivers, I know that Gallup's a free agent. They might lose him, but they still come back with Cooper and Lamb. That, to me, that's the team to beat in the NFC right now.
I'm with you. The thing that they got to fix, similar to Cincinnati, they got to fix their offensive line. That team is aging on the offensive line and too injury prone at this point in time. If they don't get better on the O-line, much like the Bengals, they're both going to be stuck in the mud, I think, again. So we'll see. All right. The other big one is Aaron Rodgers. All the news. PB, does he stay or does he go?
Man, I just hope we don't have another summer like last year where Aaron Rodgers' questions around playing for Green Bay were pretty much the topic of conversation, right? It's all we heard about all summer long. We might be hearing the same thing this summer. I don't know.
I think he has to make a decision before the fiscal year starts, because then they're locked into his cap hit. So they either have to trade him or redo his contract and sign him for 4 years to now spread that money out, because they're going to take like a $47 million hit if he stays on the roster as is.
Yeah, which is a lot, and it's tough to, when you're aging like that, to try and keep the pieces around him, because they're probably going to lose. They could lose Devontae Adams, right? They do have both. I don't know if Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon are both going to be in that backfield next year, but there's some serious question marks. Like Green Bay is one of those teams that once they lose Aaron Rodgers, they could literally go into like a 4-win, 5-win team.
Hey, can you say Detroit Lions?
I know they'll probably be competing for last place with the Lions.
Yeah, I agree. What about, let me ask you a question. The other big one, Jimmy G, all the talk is he's not going to be back in San Fran. We just mentioned, it sounds like Trey Lance is going to be there. If Jimmy G leaves, where's the best landing spot for him?
I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is Tampa, right? I mean, we know Tampa Bay, again, is bringing back a team that won the Super Bowl, that basically lost on the final drive against the Rams in the divisional round this year. We know their defense is solid. We know they have a decent, really good offensive weapons. I think you put Jimmy G in that spot, and that team's instantly a contender again. I
would say so. I like your Dallas pick. I said the same thing about Dallas, but if Tampa Bay gets a quarterback like Jimmy G or somebody of that equivalent or better, like Russell Wilson, even for that matter, I mean, they're right back there. I mean, to me, then it's them.
We got a Tampa Bay, Dallas NFC Championship would be kind of fun next year.
Yeah, Russell Wilson. So I just mentioned him. He's quieted down about wanting to leave Seattle, but does Seattle want him back, do you think?
I feel like his time is up there. I do. I really
Well,
do.
what do they do? I mean, that's a team that's still got a pretty good roster as well. You lose him, who do they put in the mix?
I know.
They don't have a backup, right?
No.
I don't know.
Maybe
By
they
the
go
way,
after someone in the draft.
So 1 week after he said he's done, even though he has this ankle that's a mess, now there's talk that he might come back. Does he come back? Does he not?
I don't think he does. No, I think he's got, he's 40. He's going to be 45 in August before the season starts. He's got, his kids are growing. I think he's got a lot of life to live with his family, and I just think he's done. I think he's done not because he can't play anymore, but just because this is what he wants.
I will say this. I think he doesn't play this year. I wouldn't be surprised, because what's the one thing that he can now say he did? I took a year off. I came back and won a Super Bowl. I mean, that legacy, that mountain will be so high at that point in time, wouldn't it be?
Oh my God. That means he'd be playing after he turns 46. I don't know about that, man. That'd be amazing.
I mean, that's the ultimate pinnacle at that point in time. You left in your mid-40s, came back, won a Super Bowl.
When you're almost 50.
All right. Hey, let's switch gears a little bit. Let's go out to China and talk 2 minutes of the Olympics. Mikala Schifrin, as I said earlier, looks like she's going to go 0 for 3 do-not finishes. That's a shock, don't you think?
Yeah, there was a lot of talk about her winning multiple golds, and now she was just happy to finish a race. When she finished, obviously the first 2 she crashed, and then she missed the pole on one, but then her third race she actually finished it, didn't medal, but just because she finished it, she was proud.
Yeah.
But there's a mental aspect to that too. You know what I mean? It's tough. So I give her credit, but would like to see some more.
Speaking of mental aspect, the Russian girl, Camila, I can't even pronounce her last name, but everybody knows it, a 15-year-old that got caught doping 2 months ago, by the way. It was in December, apparently. She did not know. They gave her some type of heart medicine to help her blood pressure so that she now gets more blood flow. I mean, I don't blame this girl at all, do you?
No.
The Russians did it to her.
She's too young, I think, to deliberately say, hey, I'm going to take this. It's going to make me a better skate. I mean, she's obviously a world-class figure skater to begin with. So I don't think she was looking for a competitive edge in any way, shape, or form.
I don't think so. The Russians boozed her up. And then, of course, now it's in her head, all that stuff that they're not going to do the national anthem. She wins. She goes out. She falls like 5 times. And by the way, the Russians turned their nose to her after that. She fell 5 times. They said, forget it. We're not even going to talk to you anymore. Basically, they screwed this kid's life at 15 years old. That's terrible. Unbelievable. All right, switch gears for a minute. I watched a little bit of the U.S.-Canadian game, not the men. By the way, the men did beat the Canadians for only, I think, the 3rd time in 102 years. That's incredible as it is, considering the American men's team has only been put together for like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But the women's and the Canadians, a great rivalry. They're the only 2 teams that have ever won a gold medal in women's hockey. Did you know that? I didn't realize that.
I didn't realize that either. I thought maybe like Sweden or Finland squeezed in there, one of them. But you know what? I think they've played for the gold medal match.
5. The Canadians have won once, and Americans won one time.
And is that every single gold? Has any other team even played against one of those 2 teams for the gold?
Actually, now you said it, I believe Canada was 4-1 against the U.S., and I think they won 1 gold against somebody else, if I'm not mistaken. I think.
Oh, okay.
I think that's how it's worked out.
But because women's hockey's only been in the Olympics since the 80s or something,
correct.
Right?
Or I think the 90s maybe.
90s, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but they do play. They have a great rivalry. Those games, even when they're not in the Olympics, and they play in the tournaments, they always come down to a 1-goal game. They're intense rivalry, right? So
right. But this game was really over early because Canada went up 2-0 in the first period. Then they went up. I think they were up 3-0, and then the women scored what? They scored 1 goal in the second period, make it 3-1. They didn't score again until it was 13 seconds left in the game.
Right.
So the 3-2 score makes it look like it was like this tense, close game, but it was kind of over early with Canada, I think.
Somewhat, yeah. I took the lead, yeah. All right. Anything else in the Olympics that you want to highlight?
No, it's just they're just great athletes. They're fun to watch. You turn the TV on, especially in the evening when things are starting to kick in the morning live. So you go to bed 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. You actually can see live stuff that's starting up around late morning in Beijing. So you get to see a lot of live stuff. You're not watching recordings. So I think that's kind of cool. Well, it doesn't matter what's on.
You're one out of 100 people who are doing that because the ratings are way down, 50% lower than they were last time around.
Wow. Oh, I wanted to shout out too. I don't know if you've watched Eileen Gu, but she's been pretty incredible to watch. I know she's representing China, even though she was born in the U.S. Her mother's from China, but she's the first woman to win like 3 or 4 different events. Not even within the same, technically in the same sport, right? Because she won the half pipe with snowboarding, but she also won it with freestyle with skiing, and she won an actual race. So she's doing different events and winning. So so a little shout out to her.
Yeah, I would agree. All right, hey, quickly, NBA trade this past week, a real blockbuster. Harden goes to Philadelphia, gets out of Brooklyn, winds his way out of Brooklyn. Simmons gets out of Philadelphia, where he hasn't played all year because he's has some issues in his head. What do you think of that trade? Who came out better in your mind?
Man, it's so hard to tell right now just because of the health situation on both sides. I never was a fan of Simmons. I never was a fan of Simmons. I don't think he really complimented Embiid that well in Philadelphia. This could end up being good for both of them. But I think Harden's the better player. I think Harden.
By far. Yeah.
So Harden could potentially make a difference in Philadelphia, but how long is it going to be before he gets on the court? That's the question.
He's supposed to play after the All-Star next week, so we'll see. By the way, Philly didn't just give up Simmons. They gave up Seth Curry, Steph's little brother, who's a pretty good shooter, Andre Drummond, who can get 20 rebounds in his sleep, so that's good, and 2 first-round picks. I know it may not be good if Philadelphia has good record, but still, they gave up a crap load to get Harden. And by the way, Harden is on the books for $62 million next year.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
I think they might be going all in because, if they're going to probably load manage Harden, right?
Yep.
Between now and the end of the year. And then they'll try to make a run in the playoffs. But that East is pretty stacked this year, It's pretty stacked. You got to get past the likes of Milwaukee and Miami and
by the way, Miami's got the best record in the league. Milwaukee's only 4th in the East, and Milwaukee's 4th right now. Tied with actually not tied. Cleveland's tied with Philadelphia for 3rd, so technically Milwaukee's almost 5th at that point.
Wow. And then you got but that was Milwaukee last year. They were like a 3 or 4, weren't they? Going in?
I think they were 2.
Won it all.
I think they were 2.
Oh, they were 2. Okay.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. It's going to be a good one. I think Philly, to your point, I think Philly comes out better in the short run, but long term, I think Brooklyn does all right. Depending on the Kyrie situation, as we know, Kyrie's a problem child. That's why we had the Kyrie Award. I don't have a winner this week, but I'm going to come up with one for next weekend. All right. Hey, MLB. So are they going to play or not? What do you think? I think the season's going to get delayed. Do you?
Yeah. Well, they have a big meeting next week. They already delayed the start of spring training from February 28th or something to March 5th. They delayed it a week. So if they can't start spring training on the 5th, they won't be able to start the season on time. So this meeting has to be good next week. They got to come to a conclusion. They got to get to that start of March 5th, which is 2 weeks from today. If that doesn't happen, then we're looking at a delay. Apparently, the last time they met, it was 15 minutes and it was over. So they shutting things down pretty quickly here. So I'm not sure.
And by the way, they still have to take care of all these contracts that hadn't been solved yet with players. So if they say go, there's going to be a frenzy of player movement as well. So rosters are not going to get set right away. I can't see them getting March 31st off. I really can't. We'll see. Good luck. Yeah. Hopefully they do. And by the way, this whole lockout is so stupid. Get this. I heard this. Dante Bichette, the player, he's now retired. His son, Bo Bichette, obviously from the Toronto Blue Jays. Dante works for the Blue Jays. Get this. Because he works for the Blue Jays, he can't talk to his son, Bo, about baseball, so he had to resign. Is that stupid?
That's crazy.
Unbelievable. The only good thing that might come out of this thing, PB, is supposedly we're going to get the universal DH rule. I don't know if you like it. I happen to like universal DH. I think it's stupid. Why you play the other league? Depends if you're home, you can't have a DH or not, blah, blah, blah. You got to have it both ways or no way, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big rule. I mean, it makes the game completely different. You have to manage the game completely different. you have double switches all the time with pitchers coming in and stuff like that and moving people around in your order. It's a completely different managed game when you have a DH. So to have a game be that different in two different leagues in the same sport, imagine if football, the NFC games had different rules than the AFC. It would just be weird, right? But yet we've accepted this in baseball for years and years and years and years.
I'm glad. Sounds like it's going to finally happen. So that's good. All right. Anything else before we sign off?
No, I think that's it. Yeah, we're going to have to start getting into our draft talks and our top backs and top receivers and top quarterbacks coming out of this draft. The combine's going to be here before we know it. So
yes,
we got to continue that football talk.
I'm sure we'll have some good NFL gossip and when we talk next. All right, brother. Have a good weekend, fans. Take it easy.